My guest today is Jason Aspes, president of the UPAA, a major organization shaping pickleball globally. He's also the founder of the Kitchen Pickleball, the largest pickleball community in the world, and involved with Ringerware, a brand that helps solve a very pesky problems for pickleball players, sweaty palms. So from global leadership to grassroots impact in places like Uganda, Jason brings a unique perspective on where pickleball is headed. Jason, welcome to the show.
Thank you, kid. Thanks for having me.
I understand you have a Malaysian connection.
I do. My wife is Malaysian-born Chinese, grew up in Australia. I lived in Asia for 12 years. I moved to Singapore. I moved to Hong Kong in 2001, Singapore in 2003, and back and forth a few times, and finally left in 2013. Met my wife there, had 3 boys that were all born in Hong Kong and Singapore. So yeah, spent a long time there.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing. And you're quite an overachiever with so many roles. But before the titles and organizations, what was life for you back then?
Yeah, so I worked in advertising, and that's what brought me to Asia. I ran big advertising agencies, Ogilvy and Mather. I came over with a company called Darcy, then Leo Burnett in Singapore, and then Ogilvy as a regional creative director, worked on big accounts like Motorola and Nike, 361, IHG Hotels, Sprite, Coca-Cola, you name it. Lots of big accounts, and spent my time kind of traveling all over the region and all over the world making advertisements.
That's amazing. Yeah. So when do you realize pickleball was more than just something that you played?
I think, probably the first time I got to play it, when COVID hit, I was a basketball player. That's how I got my exercise. But when COVID hit, everything shut down, and, going into a gym was not really an option. So everybody started moving outside and finding ways to get exercise outdoors. And a lot of my friends were playing tennis. I was never really a great tennis player. I played a little bit when they started playing, but I saw pickleball in the distance, and it excited me because I recognized that it was going to take years to be really good at tennis. And I don't think that was really in the cards for me. But I saw pickleball and it looked like white space. It just looked wide open.
Yeah.
And it really excited me because I'm a tinkerer. I like figuring things out, and particularly things that require both physical activity and strategy. And pickleball was the absolute perfect sport for me and at the right time.
Yeah. And you can really see, I think for myself, pickleball is something that you could see the progressive improvement. Not many sports that you can see so much improvement from game to game. So when people hear about UPAA, it's a very big organization, but why do we need an organization like UPAA in the first place?
We all love this game because it's fun to play, it's competitive, and you want to challenge yourself against another player and see who has the better skill set and the strategy and the physicality. But as paddles started getting better and better, and manufacturers started realizing how to make paddles that were more and more powerful and could generate more and more spin, we really needed limitations on them, and we needed to understand how the ball reacts with the paddle and what optimizes the game. Where is it the most fun? Where is it the most fair? Where is it the most competitive? And not let that go over that limit. And we know that paddles change over time. Every paddle changes. Some go up in power, some go down in power, some go up in spin, some go down in spin. Nothing changes constant. And so we needed to have a system that we could measure that and could certify that. Particularly for us, I'm UPAA. We are the governing body of the professional game for PPA and MLP. And this year we spent $33 million on our athletes. So it's a huge endeavor, right? That's just going to the athletes, not to mention the amount of money that goes into each of the events. So you're spending close to $100 million. You want to make sure this thing is done properly and that it's fair. So that's why we started up the UPAA and began testing and figuring out, doing the research to figure out how do we test this? What kind of machines do we need? What kind of limits do we need? What kind of tests do we need? And be able to do that efficiently.
Sure. Thank you so much for investing into the pickleball ecosystem. Well, president is obviously a very big title, but what does a day-to-day for president of UPAA looks like?
Yeah, so every day is a little different. Paddles are certainly at the forefront of trying to ensure that we have the right limits in place, the right tests, and that the certification goes smoothly, that we do on-site testing. But we also go into the rules of the game, the refereeing programs, the court surfaces, and the reflection, all the things that, the lighting systems and everything that goes around making this game better, how we can improve upon it, how we can protect it, and make sure that we maintain the integrity that it so deserves.
Awesome. And now let's talk about the Kitchen Pickleball. You guys are building it into more like a movement, right? But what were you seeing in the community that made you guys start the Kitchen Pickleball?
Yeah, I think at the beginning, we just loved pickleball. My buddy Jared, Paul, and myself, and Dana, the 3 of us, Dane and Jared were in a music business, and I've been helping them out. I live in Atlanta. They live in Austin, Texas. So we weren't even together, but we both started playing pickleball at the same time, right at the beginning of COVID. And we saw the opportunity to create a community of people that were finding the sport just like we were, because we were absolutely falling in love with it and trying to figure out, there were no KidChans back then. There was nobody that was was, talking about pickleball online at that time. It was pretty nascent. So we saw an opportunity to not only, congregate and get people in to talk about it, but also to at the time there was a stigma. It was for old people. It was the old stodgy game, right? It was the thing that your grandparents played. And we were seeing a different trend and there was a different reality emerging, but the narrative hadn't been painted in the way that we saw it. And so we had an opportunity to kind of make it cool and to have fun with it and to bring a little, youth and energy to the sport that we were falling in love with.
And now that you guys are almost like a 1.9 million across all platforms, where is Kitchen Pickleball headed?
I mean, I think we just keep on growing and along with the game itself. I've always said that we were champions of the game. I thought that it was our job to, to protect it, to educate people about it, to show the highlights, to explain the rules and the strategies, and really, be a one-stop shop where people could come into the kitchen, meet other people that played, and just be entertained and educated and really kind of find their people who were going to bed at night dreaming about this game because they loved it so much. And I think that that's what hopefully we offer.
Yeah, I think that the internet is such an amazing space. I mean, the game and social media is such an amazing space. I met you online, and then we met offline, and then now we are back online. It's just crazy. I mean, I couldn't imagine this happening like 20 years ago. You can't just simply reach out to someone and say, hey, do you want to play a game or something like that? Yeah. And of course, meeting you at the PPA, Malaysia, you are a good player. Tell us a bit about your game.
I think I'm a good player in relative to who you see me playing with. Yeah, I'm about a 4-5 player, 4-2 on Duper right now. But yeah, I love the game. I'm not a pro. I'm 53 years old, so I'd be a senior pro anyway. But I do love it. I love. It's funny you mentioned earlier about when you fall in love with this game and you just want to play more and more. The excitement that I used to have, I feel like I kind of plateaued as I got very busy with the work side of pickleball. I think I stopped improving. I've been at this level for a very long time now. I've just recently started taking lessons, and it has once again kind of relit that fire. I go to bed thinking about it and trying to figure out what I was doing wrong, and that has been such a blessing for me. I feel like it's relit that fire that I used to have for the sports. I love it. I love getting out there and playing and making new friends, and the social aspect of this is just as much as any other, and that's part of the magic, is meeting new people.
It's funny you mentioned you do, by the way, you don't look a day over 40, okay?
Well,
Not even a day over 38. I'm a coach, and I think I've been feeding the ball so much, so that day I played a casual tournament, and I realized, hey, I just been too friendly on, and so today after this, I'm actually going for a coaching session so that I can get a bit more balance and not just feeding the ball when I'm playing competition. Yeah. So you go through so many pedals, okay, and this is a personal one. How do you decide what pedal to use and at what time? I mean, I don't need an endorsement, but look at you. There's so many pedals. How do you choose which pedal to bring? Like, even to the game, like how many pedals do you bring to the game?
So a lot of it is I'm testing paddles a lot, right? I want to see, obviously I have the opportunity to see all the cutting edge paddles, the people who are putting it in for testing, and I'll take a look at it, and particularly ones that are on the edge that may or may not pass. I want to see what these things do, and I want to feel it. I want to make sure that that the test never misses something. So I love the opportunity to go out and play with the new paddles and seeing what's what each of these do. When I find something that I really feel comfortable with, that's when I will use it more than once. And then when I feel like I can trust it, that's, I think, the thing that really kind of resonates with me is I find paddles. I don't love the paddles that hit so hard or spin so much. It's a comfort level. And when I feel comfortable and I can trust it and I know what it's going to do, those are the paddles that I tend to resonate with.
That's awesome. Yeah, but how many do you bring to the game though?
I usually bring 3, and I typically bring 3 different ones. It's usually things that I know and I'm comfortable with, and I can trust them, and I feel good about them.
Okay. Is there a specific competition, without naming names, is there a specific competition paddle that you use? I mean, if you're playing competition and not social.
Not really. I mean, I mix it up quite a bit, and
really?
I play with, yeah. I've gone through everything. I mean, I've had the privilege of being able to play with pretty much every paddle out there. So I'm very familiar with all of them. Some do some things, others don't. And, a lot of it, some of it even depends on who I'm playing against, right? If I'm playing against people who are driving the ball really hard, I might want to go, reset and play a little softer game and might change the paddle. If I'm playing against somebody I think I can overpower, I might go for a more powerful paddle.
Does this still excite you to test new paddles?
Yeah, I think excitement, I'm more curious. I'm always, my antenna goes up. I don't want to see people play games, and I take it very seriously, and I, want to make sure that everybody has a fair playing field. That's the biggest thing. A few years ago, when you would meet the pros, there were lots of complaints. It wasn't fair. And we all knew it wasn't fair. People were, people had paddles that weren't what they said they were. It was too easy to manipulate, and it wasn't a good space that we were in. So I'm really pleased with where we have gotten to very quickly. And now I feel like, particularly at the pro level, I know exactly what these paddles do.
So I don't have so many paddles, but I'm still very exciting testing new paddles. I just got two that came in. Christmas came in early, so right after this, I'll test my paddles. Okay, I want to talk.
What do you got? Which one?
Okay, it's not an endorsement, but yeah, I got it's a gift. It's the last Tornado.
What do I got? Right over here, right?
This is the Tornado?
This is
Inferno.
Inferno. Inferno. Yeah, that's the Inferno. Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. So cool. Anyway, I want to talk about Ringerware, and I'm very impressed, and I think that's why I shot the video of that you actually being able to wipe your hands. Now, how do you come up? I mean, how do you actually think of something that would be neat and actually bring it to reality?
Yeah, so it was a confluence of things. My sister-in-law, who's my partner in Ringer, she played college tennis. So she's always played tennis, and I never played much tennis. So I wasn't really familiar with the issues of holding a paddle in your hand or holding a racket in your hand. But when I started playing pickleball, my hands were getting sweaty. I live in Atlanta. It's hot. It's a little bit like Singapore weather in the summers. And I'm a sweater. I'll sweat a lot. And I started having this issue where my hands were getting sweaty.
Yeah.
I would sweat through my shirts. I'd sweat through my shorts, and I had nowhere to wipe my hand. I'd have to go get a towel and wipe it off. And that took too much time. And I realized pickleball is so much about focus and those moments. If you let your mind wander for even just a second, you could lose 2 or 3 points. And that's the problem. And so we knew there had to be a better way. And we found this product called Drive. It's a fabric technology that uses kind of 2 layers, and it disperses moisture on one side and it keeps the outside dry, and you can wipe your hands on it. And I thought, wow, that's an amazing idea. I wonder if we can build that into shorts and skirts. And it took us a long time. It was a few years before we got it right. We had to go to factories all over the world and find production partners. It was a very technical build, but we were able to do it, and it's been super fun to do it, especially with family. And I love it. I think that everybody who tries it, you start wiping, even when you're not wearing the shorts. You start wiping your hands on your shorts, and it's not there. You think, oh, I need my Ringer shorts.
But I think what I like about it is actually, it actually looks good. I mean, I'm a photographer, right? And when I started as a photographer, so we had photographer West, but they don't look good. But this one actually looks good, right? And I had one of your shirts, and I actually wear it. I think it's almost like it's a good shirt, but that allows me to transition from formal to casual very easily. So that's what I really like about Ringerware. And I know you guys are supporting pickleball in Uganda. Tell me a bit about that.
Yeah, so the Dream Academy down in Uganda is this wonderful organization that's teaching these kids in this village how to play pickleball. And for years, they've been posting in the kitchen, and that's how I got to know them. I saw them posting these videos, and I thought it was pretty remarkable. And we've seen a lot of people in the community that have gone and visited them, in Uganda, and pretty cool stories coming back, videos and pictures. So, the kids are getting great, by the way. I mean, over the last few years, seeing them go from, at the beginning, it was pretty rough, but now they're getting really good. And over the years, we've reached out to paddle brands and ball companies and been able to send them a lot of goods and paddles and balls and equipment. And what ended up happening was I realized that it was difficult to get them things, right?
Yeah.
Money was much easier transaction. So this past Thanksgiving and coming through the holiday season, Ringerware started. We were selling the TKO shirt, which was the Kitchen Open, and all proceeds from that were going towards the Dream Academy in Uganda. They were in the process of building out their bathrooms, and they've been doing step by step. And right now, he was just telling me it's kind of rainy season, and they haven't finished the roof, and they need a little bit more money. And so we're going to try to raise a little bit more money and sell some T-shirts and hopefully help them out.
And how do people get these T-shirts?
Yeah, you can go to ringerware.com. I'll send you a link so you can maybe include it in here. But yeah, it's a TKO T-shirt. I would have worn it had I known. But yeah, it's a good looking T-shirt, and it goes to a great cause.
Yeah. So apart from Uganda, do you think this will happen in other countries as well?
Oh, it's happening in other countries. I mean, it's growing organically. It is. The barrier is so low, right? If you have a flat, a slab of concrete, you can pretty much play. Many times when it's not completely flat, and people will find a way to play.
Yeah.
It's almost like how you can find anybody can play soccer. Ball requires a little bit of work because you need a couple of hoops. But pickleball, same kind of way. It's pretty easy to be able to play. And once you get hooked, I mean, it really becomes this very strategic, mental game that people it does a lot of the things that we see in addiction.
Yeah.
Right. Like, we see the dopamine hits, the serotonin's released, that rush that you go for. And it's the confluence of the physical and the mental working together. It's those things that you need. And a lot of people, when they have addictions, whether it's drugs or alcohol or food or whatever it might be, it's the same kind of feelings that they're looking for. And pickleball definitely, ticks those needs. And we see so many people that have lost a ton of weight, that they've
Yeah.
quit drinking, they don't do drugs. And it really is. It's quite remarkable that it fills that void. And I think on top of that, the social aspect of it, you make new friends and you meet new people, and all of a sudden it changes your life. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think pickleball is all there. It's a dose of happiness. So dopamine, oxytocin, serotonin, and endorphin, it all presents when you
Yeah.
play pickleball. So I personally think it's great work that you guys are doing. And I think personally in Malaysia, it's a bit of a challenge because it's perceived as a top 20 sports, meaning the top 20 percentile, where it's a rich man sport, where really it is not. As you said, we just need concrete and a ball and paddles and we can play. So we really want to, but it is what it is. We look through life through a context of social media. It looks like, look at the courts looks expensive, the attire looks expensive. Oh, so we are having challenges to bring the game to grassroots, and this is definitely something that I personally want to champion. And funny thing was actually, I didn't want to play pickleball at first because I myself look when pickleball exploded in Malaysia, I look and say, oh no, the skirts are too short. I can't be seen, playing with young girls that have such short skirts. Later, I know they are skirts and not skirts. Okay, so coming back to you are in Malaysia. What do you think about the Malaysian scene?
It's booming, obviously. I was there in 2022, and I met with the Minister of Sport. I was out, I can't even remember where I was, but I was out visiting my wife's family, and I put together through the kitchen a little meetup to play some pickleball. And we went out and we played, and it was great. I was at a badminton hall. I remember green floors. I don't know where it was, but they brought out like 30 people. It was great, and we had such a fun time. And I remember telling the Minister of Sport that I was singing the praises of the sport and why I thought it was so good, particularly in Malaysia and in Asia culture, where you have multi-generational families living together. You can have the grandkids playing with the grandparents. Everybody has a badminton court down at I would spend a lot of time in Singapore, so the HDB flats. Basically, everyone has a badminton court or two or three down at the playground level. So it was pretty easy to be able to set that up. And I think that hopefully Malaysia can convert some of these, and not say convert, like turn them into full-time pickleball courts, but be able to share space. That's perfect. But I saw how much you guys were building out. It almost made me take pause, because I do have concerns that we're going in too fast, and that you need to grow it organically, and you need to have the demand there. And you don't want to invest a bunch of money into some infrastructure that might not be fulfilled right away. I think eventually we get there, but you need to do it in a methodical pace.
Yeah, or that's what I was going to ask you next. What was the main mistake that you think when people are growing too fast? Thank you for answering that. Yeah, so personally, my mom plays 73 until recently, and my nephew, who is only 2, also plays. So like you say, we're multi-generational. So as a sports skills, how do they make sure pickleball doesn't loses its soul?
Yeah, I think that inevitably everything evolves and turns into something else, right? And I think that we're learning now that as this first kind of, I'm going to call them, it's not the first generation of pickleball players, but at that 5-year mark that we're hitting now post COVID, of the people who took it very seriously for the past 5 years, I think I fit into that bucket. It's different. And it's not the same as it used to be, because I could go out to the park and I would still be excited about playing and bringing on new players and offering them instruction. It's a little different now. I go out to the park now, it's crowded. You can't get on. Some of the players are newbies, some of them are more advanced. And so finding that right balance it can be difficult at times. I think I'm very fortunate here in Atlanta. There's a lot of pickleball courts being built out, some privatized, some public by municipalities. And that's great. You can kind of pick and choose and find your level and decide, am I willing to wait? Do I want to meet new people? Do I want to pay a little bit of money and go to a private club? But I have a lot of different options, and that's great. And I think that you'll see that, really everywhere that the demand is there, people will, they'll try to commercialize it, right? These are businessmen that will find opportunity and try to cater to what the community is looking for.
Yeah. Circling back to what you mentioned about building facility too fast and making sure demand was there. I think another thing that's coming into the dynamics is actually that we see, like, we live in, a lot of us live in apartments and condos, and a lot of them are actually building courts themselves. So commercial might be having a bit of challenge building up their demand as well, so to work it around there. So when people look back in 10 years from now, what do you want them to remember you for your role in pickleball?
For my role, hopefully I'm 10 years from now. Yeah, hopefully I'm still going. I love it. I really do. I've spent, pretty much every day. I was talking to my co-founder in the kitchen, Jared, the other day, and I was like, Jared, how many days do you think you've gone without uttering the word pickleball? And I think probably from the first day that we got together and started playing, probably in early 2020, maybe late 2019, we probably haven't not said the word pickleball at least once a day. I mean, it is our life. We are immersed in it, and that's awesome. It's so wonderful to be able to do something that you love and care about and feel like you're really making a difference in it. And that's pretty cool to be able to find a sport that can impact so many people. It really is a pretty widely adopted game. That's pretty amazing. And I'm just happy to be along for the ride, and hopefully we're doing the right things.
Cool. Finally, one thing pickleball has taught you about people.
About people, I think you can't judge anybody by looks and what's on the surface. So many times you can think you eye up people and know what their game is going to be or what they're going to be like and how they're going to act, and they surprise you almost all the time, right? Just because you look athletic doesn't mean you're going to be athletic. Just because you look unathletic doesn't mean you're not going to be athletic. And also, people that look, like they might be mean or they might not be nice, they turn out to be the most lovely people, and it's wonderful. It's such a privilege to be able to go out and meet new people, and I love it. I love connecting with people and hearing their stories and welcoming them into this wonderful fraternity that is pickleball.
Any message for pickleballers in Asia?
Keep going. I think that Asia's booming. I love it. I'm so excited to see the growth. I think it's pretty commonly believed that Asia is going to be running this thing pretty soon. The young talent that we saw out in Malaysia, it's exciting, and I'm excited to see it. I love it, and keep going.
I'm looking forward to having my butt get kicked by you. So thank you so much for being on the show. And that's Jason Aspes, the president of UPAA. And thank you for being on the KidChan Show.
Thank you, kid. Appreciate it.